Hello, it's me, it's SparkleDart. No, it's not SparkleDart. You know what's funny is actually I was thinking about this. It was a weird thing to be thinking about was type 2 diabetes. You know, I'm not really sure the difference between type 2 diabetes and type 1 diabetes, but I think type 2 diabetes is the one where you get it because your pancreas shuts down or your thyroids or whatever because you're too fat of a person. And type 1 is the one where you just genetically predisposition to have it. Now, type 1 diabetes, it's just something that some people get. You know, I had a friend once upon a time who had type 1 diabetes, and he's all like, I got insulin issues, and I got to inject insulin into my toes and my fingers and my elbows and whatever else it is that these sorts of people, these types, inject insulin into. I don't know, maybe it's the buttocks or the scrot or something like that. I don't really know because it never bothered to ask. I thought it was kind of gross and kind of personal, not really my business. You know, that's just me. I don't like to intrude on anybody's business. If somebody's all like, you know, Mr. SparkleDart, you got to respect my boundaries. I'm your friend. I'm like, yeah, I know I do, but sometimes I'm just genuinely curious on like a biological standpoint where these sorts of problems arise from, not so much where you specifically got it, because if you got the type 1 or the type 2, that's not really my business to know, but if you got it from just having a genetic predisposition to have it, you know, I'm glad that at least you're okay, even if you do have to inconvenience yourself every single day because of it. So anyways, I guess I should start the episode right, because I'm SparkleDart and I don't start episodes like a normal human being would do. So yeah, check it out, I'm SparkleDart. Okay, so here's the thing about me, SparkleDart. Okay, well, we'll just skip right over that. You know, I'm a nice guy, and I am caring and passionate, and that's, you know, it's all been said before. I like to think that, I've nailed that point home pretty deep as of now, and you should be able to infer these sorts of things without me having to tell you. But of course, it's difficult for me to know whether or not you do, because you're not leaving comments. You gotta be like, SparkleDart, I'm okay, I'm just fine. I want you to not have to worry about me, and then at that point, I won't worry about you anymore, because I'll know everything is okay, and I won't have to have that burden laid upon me. You're laying burdens upon me, especially you, Joshua. I know you're watching my videos, but you never respond to them, Joshua. You know, I really appreciate when you tell me that, hey, I liked when you did this, hey, I liked when you did that, but at the same time, it doesn't really help me because I don't have that sort of fallback, you know. I'm drunk all the time, so I never really understand what it is you're saying, so I can't remember what it is you said to me at the time, and I know that is a problem. I know that it's affected our family deeply, but that's just how it is, and that's just who I am. You know, I'm working on it. You know that, right? And Mom and Dad know that too, or Dad did know about that before the tragic incident. God rest his bones. But Joshua, I know. I love you and I love Mom, and that's just the way that it is. And I know you've been living with Mom, even though you're 32 now, Joshua. It's time to grow up. You know, you gotta kind of start making something of yourself. And if you don't start making something of yourself, then people are gonna think you're sad, pathetic, lonely, or whatever. And I know, you know, I don't want to drop anything like that, a truth bomb on you, so to speak, but if I have to, I will, because, you know, it's somebody's responsibility, and I think that the best way to have an intervention is through a random YouTube video that you will probably watch one time and then cry about, because you like to cry. Now, I know I'm being kind of mean, but sometimes it takes a little bit of a rude attitude. God, I hate rhyming on accident. It takes a rude tude to set straight this dude, if you know what I'm talking about. And I think you do, because you like rhyming, you like to watch all sorts of musicals, and there's nothing wrong with musicals. It's just I know a little bit more about Andrew Lloyd Webber than I'd like to, thanks to you, brother Joshua. Thanks to you, I know a little bit more about musicals than I would otherwise. And you know what? Is that a bad thing? I don't know. That's neither here nor there. That's not my business to assert any sort of oh, that was my mistake. That was my mistake right there. And I'm making another mistake. You know, this is going to be a mistake kind of day. I'm okay with that. Mistakes are good to make. You learn from them. You learn a lot about yourself. You know, one time I made a mistake. I was trying to merge into an... Okay, so a little bit of a background information here. There's a exit near where I live where the incoming traffic from the on-ramp has like 50 feet to merge with the outgoing traffic onto the off-ramp. If that makes sense. So that gives you a total of maybe like, I don't know. You motherfucking mole man. That gives you a total of maybe like 15... No, not 15, like 5 seconds to merge and to let the other cars merge past you. And if you don't do that, then it causes a huge problem, and sometimes you'll miss your exit. I missed my exit one time, and the crazy thing is, it always seemed like whenever I was going around that exit, there was always a big old semi-truck coming through, a big old Peterbilt, if you will. And, you know, those semi-trucks are very large and they're very imposing, and if you get sideswiped by one, you probably will die, and that is the truth. You don't want to get sideswiped by a large vehicle because they will, you know, they will damage your car, and they themselves might not take any damage. But the cool thing is you can actually do something called drifting off of these vehicles. You can, pardon me, you can get right up behind them, and you can lower your gas mileage because of it. My friend had one of those fancy-ass cars that had a gas mileage, or what's the term there that I'm looking for? He had his gas mileage displayed on a digital display on his dashboard, and because of that, he knew exactly how many miles per gallon he was getting, and whenever he would not park himself, but drive behind a large vehicle, didn't matter if it was a semi or just a truck or something so similar to that, his gas mileage would go from about 21 to 28, and that's quite a step up, you know what I'm talking about. You save a lot of... it doesn't really matter in the short run if you aren't saving that much mileage or not, because in the long run is what really counts. Like when you... Okay, so let me put this into perspective for you, I guess. In the long run, if you're driving for like 100 miles or so, and you're saving 8 miles per gallon, or whatever the ratio was that I said earlier. I don't exactly remember what it was exactly. But hey, if you're saving that much, then you will be saving money over the long period of time. But if you're only going to be drifting on like a suburban road or some sort of country road taking me home, then you're not going to be saving a lot of money, and it's actually more liable to put you in danger because the semi-trucks, they often can't see you. If you're in their blind spot, they can't see you, obviously, so you want to be sure that they know where you are at all times. In the event that you cause an accident, you will be at fault, and if you're not dead, then you'll probably go to jail or have to pay some several $1,000s worth of damages. If you damage that truck, he's hauling around furniture or maybe some sort of oven or stove or some sort of glassware in there and it breaks, then hey, it's your fault and you have to live with that. Do you want to live with those consequences? I know I wouldn't want to live with those consequences, but at the same time, I'm a pretty smart, well-to-do person, you know what I'm saying? So if I ever did get caught up in something like that, then I would have to probably say that I might have been under the influence of something, because I would otherwise never, you know, put myself or anybody else at risk. That's just not who I am. That's not what I like to do. I like to make sure everyone around me is safe. Everybody's having a good time, not risking their lives for something so stupid as to save a couple of dollars on, you know, gas or whatever. Because, you know, gas is pretty cheap now. Where I live, it's under $2.50, and it hasn't been under $2.50 since like 2004, 2003, before all sorts of terrorism attacks started happening in the Middle East, and at that point the price of crude oil went up, and we didn't do much to reconcile these differences, and now we're paying like, I think it's something like $60 per barrel of crude oil, which is a 55-gallon drum. Oh no, oh no. But you gotta think about it, at that rate, they're making a huge return on the amount that they're charging for it, and I think that that's unreasonable, because I think crude oil is just something that we should be able to have, even if we should be, you know, searching for maybe some sort of alternative source of fuel, instead of having to rely on, you know, dead planktons and krills and dinosaur bones and all sorts of fossil fuels such as those, because if we do that, then it only stands to hurt us in the long run, and the environment. Not that I'm some sort of environmental nut job, but, you know, just to say that if the hotter outside it gets, the less clothing I have to wear. And I really like to wear flannel shirts and long pants all the time. That's just what I like to wear. And if I can't wear that because of global warming, then I'm gonna get pissed off because of it. And that's, you know, I don't think that's unreasonable of me to get pissed off because of something I like to do I can't be doing anymore, or at least not in a comfortable way. You know what I'm talking about? So if you have any sensibility, stop using aerosol cans and maybe carpool or something. I don't know. All I'm saying is that I don't want to be confined to a tank top and cut-off shorts. And I'm going to blame you if that is the case, and if you're going to accept my... If you're going to accept my proposal, then you must know that I'm being completely serious about this whole thing. I would never make up something so ridiculous as that. And you know, global warming, if the polar ice caps are melting, and maybe they are, I don't really know for sure. But if they are, then I guess we just got more lands to inhabit now, because I know that Iceland, or Greenland, I'm sorry, is actually super huge, but most of it is just a giant glacier, and they've got names like Fjordaskath, Ejikilabal, and we can't pronounce those names, so we want to go there, and we want to change their cities to, you know, proper American names, like Winford, or Warsaw, or Sussex, which is more of a British type name, but if, you know what, like in Gloucestershire, where Brian Jones from the Rolling Stones was killed, if we could have a city like that in Greenland, it would be better off for us, even if it's not a American name, you know what I'm talking about. Does that make any sense? I think I might just sound like a crazy lunatic saying something like that. So if you think I sound like a crazy lunatic, then I probably do. Because I think I sound like a crazy lunatic, and I don't like to sound like a crazy lunatic, especially if I had a point, but somewhere in the translation of saying it out loud, it got lost on your psyche or whatever. Then you know what? That's fine with me. I'm okay with that. You know, if you're watching my YouTube shows to learn things, then you're watching the wrong YouTube show. I'm just a guy who knows a couple of things, but for the most part, I'm just a fucking moron who decided to start talking one day and never really stopped. You know, that's just who I am, and that's what I chose to do. And you know what? If people like it, that's great. That's fantastic. But I would never recommend that you use my show as any sort of a basis on what it is that you know and choose to believe. Like, I know all sorts of things about the Rolling Stones, like I demonstrated earlier, like the whole Brian Jones thing, and the Charlie Wood, and the Bill Wyman. Yeah, that's the name. That's the name of the guy. And of course, Richards and Jagger. They're my friends in spirit only, but I do think that they are very talented men, and I would like to at least meet them one time in my life before they pass. I'm surprised that Richards is still alive, considering how decrepit and skeletal looking he is now, because, you know, he's a crazy old guy. He's super old, and it could just be that, like, that's how the British people age, or it could just be that that's maybe something to do with his drug habits in the past. I don't know for sure, but if it was something like that, then you know, I guess that let that be a lesson to you not to be doing drugs. People say that's actually how Brian Jones died. If he did die because of the drugs, then you should take that as, you know, lead by example, and if that example is that it kills you, then let that be a lesson to the young folks. You know, the young folks, they like to try all sorts of things. It's fun to try things out, especially if it's something you've never done before, but there's always a time and place for everything, and if people are going to jail or dying for shit like that, then it's not worth your time, in my opinion. So thank you for checking out the SparkleDart. I really appreciate it. Please come back soon, and then we'll have some fun after this bonus game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Nice. I did real good there. Congratulate myself. Pat myself on the back. Nice. Okay, so come back to SparkleDart. We'll have fun again soon. Goodbye, more.